Good morning, everybody, or good evening. I guess it depends on which side of the shift you work on here. So, try to get this camera at a little bit different angle for me here. That way, the camera's a little more out of my way. But anyways, good evening time for everybody. Been kind of a rough morning, getting up and getting moving and all that other good stuff. So, anyhow, we're going to try to continue this build and get it out of the way here. That way we've got a customer that can get in here and start doing a little sideband action. Hey, good morning or good evening, Squirrel. So, again, not a lot of time, only about an hour this morning. My morning, anyways. So, I'm gonna try to get in here and get a little something accomplished before I go to work. At my other job, that is. Hey, good evening, Greg. I see you popped in there for a visit as well. All right, so trying to get all the components put into place here that needs to be put where they need to be. Since we've taken pieces and parts off of the old Palamar and trying to get them back into the right perspectival areas here. Don't worry about soldering that one the rest of the way here in just a minute. I want to just get the parts actually placed onto the transformers. That's my goal anyways. So I'd actually been out here about a half an hour sooner, maybe a little bit more, but woke up and didn't have a lot of messages, but I had to finish up with a few people. So, from yesterday. So went ahead and got my calls out of the way and got my messages out of the way for different people that contacted me over some different things. All right. So I got all that taken care of and figured I'd go ahead and try to get some work done here too. Let's see here. Another reminder from Alexa, I need to get out of bed. Sold the Cobra so you don't have to do the work on it. Well, it wouldn't have taken that long to have done. It's just trying to fit it into my crazy schedule. Sorry, hello. All right, Wild Bill. Yeah, we can try to get you taken care of on that, buddy. It is going to take some time. only thing with the new box, if we do that, I know we're going to have to do a whole different setup as far as on your power supplies. Um, that is your biggest hurdle because you have an 8 pill. So that is a pretty sizable amplifier. That cabinet, I never had it intentionally planned for an 8 pill. It can be done, but yeah, we'll have to go over a couple of different options with you in regards to um, how that needs to be accomplished if you want that done. Okay. All right, so let's get this turned around here. And we're gonna start trying to make a little progress here. Time. Yeah, that's almost a joke in itself to get time. Yeah, I know this year alone is going to be extremely busy. Not necessarily just in the shop, but personal life as well. Um, for those of you watching, and last year you guys knew that I took about a year off from building or doing anything out here in the shop because of being sick. And unfortunately, part of that still continues. Everything was looking good for several months. So I've got to go back in. I got to go back into the doctor and into the hospital again. Um, they've ran some follow up tests. So, I'm going to try to get as much done before everything's all said and done because I'm going to probably have to go back in for some more treatments. I'm not looking forward to that by no means. But life is what it is. We're going to keep on going, try to get as much done as we can. I think I'm going to pre-tin that wire before I start trimming off the edges. So it'll just mean that things are going to slow down a little bit more again. I'm just picking up good too. All right, Wild Bill, have a good one, buddy. We'll catch you on that next turnaround, buddy. Well, I appreciate it, Bruce. I appreciate that, Squirrel. Yeah, like I said, I'm, between that and, trying to save up enough money to, be able to make it over to China to see my wife too yet this year. Um, I've been trying to work as much as I can, but at the same time, I've got to stop somewhere because I've got to go back into the hospital for some more testing. So that's been, like I said, that's been really, you really brutal. Working third shift and doing all this other, it's like I said, it's very, very hard. A lot harder than what people realize. I'm not sure where those two came out of, but I know what the input, output, and all that stuff is. I know some of these over here were used for the preamp circuit, and there's still some odd and end pieces and parts on the uh, circuit board that I may try to pull off and scavenge here for this. Now, one of the things that I did notice, though, whenever I woke up and I finally got everything finally down to where I could kind of relax a little bit there this evening before getting everything started, I woke up and, as always, I mean, I try to watch everybody else's builds as far as you know my friends in this community. So I seen where Chad Jolly, owner of Donkey Stomper, seen where he did a video, and had to stop and look at it. And will have to say thank you for the video, because it was actually catered towards me, and with what I'm trying to do. I mean, there's a couple of other small builders out here. Granted, we're all trying to get just a little bit bigger. We're not looking. Most of us are not trying to look to be the biggest. I mean, there are those that are, and that is awesome. But they're taking on a different format too than the rest of us. you know there's some of us like me. I mean, I'm just trying to make it just a little bit, be a little bit bigger guy than what I am, as far as on doing repairs and trying to slowly get myself away from the radios, which is what I've been known for, basically for the last 25 years. And, this has always been the passion right here, as far as the power supplies and the amplifiers and stuff like that. And, trying to get a few DIY projects in there. I've still got tons of other DIY ideas that I would love to get into and get taken care of. And eventually I will. There we go. But like anything else, it all takes time. Okay. So I'm still got to do our combiners. Not too worried about the combiners at the moment. Okay. So that. Okay. So we still got to do our feedbacks and get that part of the circuit taken care of. So let's go ahead and build us 5 feedbacks for that. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do, because I'm still looking for replacements for these. Hey, good evening, Warren. Popcorn. Whiskey Mobile. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I should have got 5, but that's okay. We'll take care of that here in a minute. I'm going to use 4 of those, and I'm going to use a small little 2-watt resistor for the 1 pill. Mix more up. Yeah, same here. I've got a roll of coax sitting here on the floor in here that I need to actually get a piece cut, and um, the machine I've got is just a little too small for coax. It's not really, it was never meant for coax as far as on the little DIY project that I had built. So, there is that, but yeah, definitely know what you mean. I said I've got, projects of my own there that I've been trying to get taken care of, and it's been, like I said, it's been very, very interesting trying to get everything taken care of, but it's really difficult to measure out almost 200 feet of coax by yourself. So, I'm hoping to get that taken care of here fairly soon, because I'd love to go ahead and get, at least get my ground plane moved over to the other tower. That's the primary goal, anyways, is to do that. Give myself a little more room. Make it a little prettier here in just a minute as soon as I get everything all fixed up. Yeah, I've seen feedbacks faced like 15 different ways to Sunday, and I still haven't found, what I call that perfect setup for those yet. Yeah, broke is broke, but yeah, if you found it cheaper than RG8X, that's that's pretty cheap. Um, 11 is used. Used to be home channel 6. RG213. Yeah, for the money, 213 is actually pretty good. The roll of coax I've got sitting here, God knows how many years I've had it sitting here on the floor. Since it's going to be for the ground plane, it is an RG400 that I've got over here. So I mean, it's paid for, so I'm going to use it on the ground plane. But I do plan on buying like the RG213 for the beams whenever I go up with those. So, but I've still got to get that thing put back together. Yeah, that's a heck of a deal. Yeah, the only way I can get a deal on coax is if I buy it by the pallet, and I just can't afford to. I can't afford to do that. Yeah, I've looked into a few places as far as to do that, and like I said, it's just not practical. I'm just not a big enough guy, and I don't have a big enough pocketbook, um, to order that. Like I said, you got to buy stuff like that by the pallets in order to, get the price down enough. There's another alarm telling me to wake up. Yes, I am definitely familiar with the proverbial broke is broke. Between sending money over to the wife and all this other stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I was not prepared for when I started this journey. Flash tray over here. There's times where I've sat down and I've made up 15 or 20 of these at a time, and I need to kind of get back to doing stuff like that. It just really helps out, whenever you're able to sit down and build multiples of something like this, chokes. I do have some chokes that I've got that's in a little container. Somebody send me a little message with breadstick Ricky. I'm sure that one pertains to work. Resolder this here a little bit. Okay. Try to get this one transform. I didn't like the way it looked, so I'm going to try to get it seated a little bit better on this one corner. Not that it's going to affect a whole lot of the performance of it, but I just don't like lopsided components. Do, 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 do. Hello, come in. Hello, Mr. Chad Jolly from Donkey Stomper. Hello, Mr. Carlaw. See you popped in there. You're working on fixing a 48 pill. I thought you had one to build. Oh, that you built a couple of years back. Okay. Now that makes more sense. I want to say thank you, Chad. Like I said, I was not expecting that when I woke up this morning, as far as a little video that you did. Yeah, well, like I said, that's what I'm kind of hoping on, anyways. I mean, I know that some people think 5,000 feet is not a lot of wire, but um, I mean, you've got 1,000. You've got 1,000 feet there just of your own. Between what I sent you and then what you ordered. Um, so I mean, I know you're going to be good to go for a long time. But then again, you might run out of a particular color, and at least you know that, hey, I can get something other than white. I actually had a guy ask me, if I had white, and to my embarrassment, I had to tell him, no, I do not have any white. But I have seen white for so many years. Um, Dude, I'm like you. I want something other than white. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like having white on hand, and I still use white from time to time. Like I've got a little bit of 18 gauge white. Um, and eventually I'll order some more 18 gauge. Which I mean, I've got tons of green. Oh, and by the way, I sent you some free stuff. I sent you the relay to the old Palamar that was here because I thought that you said something or made mention that you know uh, you are going to need that probably to repair the other one that you've got. So I went ahead and sent you that. I also sent you some switches like what I'm using. As far as just regular on-off toggle switches. Now the double pole that you go through. Now that is something that um, I made a mistake on the order because usually I order them with the little solder or with the little holes in them. There's the board mount, and then there's the other ones. I usually order the other ones on those, but there's some really good switches. I've been using those for about 8 or 10 years. Those little red toggle switches. Don't know what you have to pay for yours, but I do know that those do hold up very good. Three Mate, he's been buying those off and on from me when he remembers that I even have them. But now on those, I mean, I keep some on hand. I keep, a good stock for myself, but I can get those. I usually whenever Three Mate orders or something like that, he'll order about 20 or 25 of them at a time. And at that time, I'm usually low enough on stock myself that I can go ahead and place the order and get those in. But usually I can get those within about I think it takes by the time they process it, because they're slow. Company that I get those from, they're slow, but I can usually get those within about 4 to 5 days as far as in-house, if I don't have enough to fill somebody's order. As long as I've got 2 or 3 on hand, that's probably going to be a plenty as far as to get me through until the order comes in. So, but play around with those. The green wire, that is actually 16 gauge. If that is something you are interested in, I've got about 400 feet of that I want to get burned up and used up. Once it's gone, it's going to be gone. But I might make a special price on that just to get rid of it. It's got a little heavier insulation than I really care for, but it does work good. And it is a good quality wire. That's one that I bought a few years back, and I actually bought 1,000 feet of it back whenever I could still get wire at what I thought was a reasonable price. So, trying to, again, just trying to get things to a little more comfort. And I am going to pull that one out because I don't like the fact that that front is sitting up just a little too high. Just got to trim that down a little bit. But yeah, some RCA jacks. I know that on occasions you get people that want foot pedals on stuff. Why, I don't know. But those are something that I order off of Amazon, because I usually only order about 8 or 10 at a time, and somehow or another I'd screwed up and I'd ordered double on those. So I've give some away to Three Mate. I've give some away to you because I thought maybe you could use them. I try to keep, like I said, a few of those on hand. Generally, if I've got about 6 of those on hand at any time, that's generally enough to go ahead and last me for a year and a half. And the little tray that I keep those in actually is more than enough. If I've got a half a dozen of those on hand, that's, like I said, about a year and a half supply on those. Stay away from the Palamar 600. Yeah, I figured you'd appreciate the extras. Like I said, that's what they are. They're just some free samples. There's also, and I've got a company that I can get those from, but I've got to buy like a mass quantity. And they're nice and shiny and stuff. But I've got some that I bought. Where they at? There they are. Wrong door. Thought that was the right door. These are extra long. Let's see here. Yeah, 1,000. There's 1,000 of them in there. Like I said, it's new old stock. I'm not sure if you can use any of those. Like I said, I sent you about a dozen of those in there. Figured if nothing else, you can use those in your dog boxes. They're all flat, so depending on your circumstances, you might be able to use some of those. But I bought like between this one, I bought like 3 or 4 different variations. I bought that one, which that's a bag of 1,000. Bought some longer ones. These are great, especially where I've seen where you use your tuning tubes. If you mount them to the back, you can bend that. You've already got a pre-drilled hole. These work really well to hold your brass tube tuners on the back. Me Rabbit both had it. And then I've got about a handful of these. I've only used one in like 5 years. But I mean, it's nothing else. Throw it in your copper box, and eventually you'll send it in for scrap. But I didn't know, because I know you do a lot of bolts on the back for your power. Like I said, I don't have a lot of these, but I've got about 25 or 30 of these left, and I'd like to find a home for them. I generally don't put studs on the back, but just trying to make some room. I know that these things are probably $5-6 a piece now, and I'll make somebody a heck of a deal on these just to get them out of the storage bin, so to speak. And then I think I even sent you some of these too, Chad, that's in that little box. It's another type of grounding lug. Like I said, I bought about 3 or 4 different varieties, but I bought everything that they had because I seen use for every one of them. But once I get these used up and a couple of the others, like I said, I have found, with what most all of us use, I have found a supply chain for these. But I got to buy like 5,000 at a time. So I'm not going to go through 5,000 of them anytime soon. But if I buy 5,000 at a time, I can sell them for about half of what we pay for them now. Just to give you an idea. These, I can sell these for about 1/3 the cost. If it is something that you are interested in, or if you're getting low, let me know. I'm sure there's not 1,000 in there now, because I've used some, and then I've sent a few of them for samples. So yeah. Helix. Speaking of which, where did I set that down at? $393, guys. I got my sample piece in. The same company that I order my wire from, they sent me, and I mean, this, I don't think I've ever felt Teflon this smooth. But they sent me a piece of this RG393, and with what I've seen of it so far, just looking at it and doing a few little things as far as just the way it is, I think it's 1.5 meters long is the piece that they sent me. So since I had an order in, they actually sent this to me for free, which is awesome. Definitely want to give them a shout out. I'm actually going to put an end on this and measure it out, find out what frequency that 1.5 meters hits on for the RG393, and look at the specs. But I'm going to make up a jumper for this and try it out. But I mean, I know that I am not going to be able to run enough power to destroy this by no means. Everything that I've seen as far as with the Teflon that the company makes, it is, bar none, some of the best. Um, you know, their silver plating on everything that I have seen so far, they actually use a heavier plating on the silver that's actually in the products. And I can get this at a pretty good deal, but I've got to buy, I've got to buy about 100 feet at a time in order to be able to get the price into a good price point if somebody's interested. Let me know. I can order this. It's not going to be one of those for somebody that only wants a 3-foot piece. I mean, eventually I might be able to try to carry this, but if you guys have priced this stuff's like $15-16 a foot. For the Teflon or for the RG393. So, bear that in mind. Eventually I will be able to try to carry this, but it's probably going to be another year. But I can special order this. Well, hello, Mr. Three Made. I wouldn't say big money, but I didn't get as much done as I wanted. Anyhow, so we got our little feedbacks in here. I'll do this one here because I'm going to drop the front down just a little bit here on that. That was a free sample of the RG393 that the company sent me. Like I said, I'm going to do a video on it. I've got their logo, and they're going to, like I said, I'm going to do a little video for them as well. Just to show to show my appreciation to them for all their hard work. I've got a pretty good representative. But they are wanting to expand their business into, the US a little bit more. Like I said, 70% of America runs on China, whether we realize it or not. There's a lot of American-made products that are actually built and then shipped over here. They, are willing to do what they call ghost builds, basically, which is they'll make your product, put your label on it, your logos, and ship it over here. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't realize that comes from China. There's a lot of people that do. So, we might as well go ahead and just, take advantage of the situation and, order direct if we can. Granted, there's a lot of tariffs and taxes and all that good stuff that is associated with it. If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for what our government does in regards to that, man, I can tell you right now, they could beat the living pants off of us when it comes to sales. But all that has to be factored in. A couple of 1,000 feet to sample. Yeah. Well, I tried to get 2 meters is what I tried to get out of him, because I know at 2 meters, that is right at enough that I know I could have done a tuned jumper for that, for our particular frequency. Um, I know that there's a lot of people that still run that even for like a 3 foot jumper. But yeah, I'm going to measure it out and see. Like I said, I know it's a meter and a half, so it'd be three, what, 4.5, roughly around 4.5, 5 feet, something like that. Honestly, Warren, that's kind of where I'm at. I've still got one of my original Toshiba builds that I did, like 10, 15 years ago. Once I was able to, once I actually figured out where I could buy the cabinets from. I mean, I built out of pieces and parts for years, building amplifiers, but, I could never find, where to buy the cabinets. So that was always the hard thing for me, was trying to buy cabinets, clean them up, paint them, in order to create a new amplifier. So, and then, somebody turned me on to ICA, like I said, many, many years ago. And that's where everything finally started going towards a new way of doing things. So, anyways, let's get back to this. Let's get some combiners made up here. Like I said, I wanted to get that taken care of there. The main part of it. Ferrite. I've not found a good place to buy ferrite other than where we've all been buying it from for the past several years. So, it's been very, very difficult in regards to that. Back in 91, oh my God. Yeah, what'd you pay for those back in 91? Like $20 a piece or something? I mean, I remember buying them for 26, I think, was the cheapest back in the day that I remember ever buying the Toshibas whenever I first started building. Um, and I thought that was, I mean, granted, I thought it was kind of high, but at the same time, I thought it was a pretty good price. I can remember buying the little 1446 transistors that was used in countless, 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 countless amplifiers. Man, I can remember, buying those for like $10, $11 a piece, and back then I almost ordered like a crap ton of them, which I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't because I'd have got stuck with them. Um, not that there's anything wrong with them, but back in the day, as far as like the little Palomar, 200s and stuff like that, man, I used to fix those on a regular basis. And I'd only order, for a two pill amplifier, I'd order four at a time, and then the price went up a couple of dollars, and then I complained, and it's like, well, why didn't I buy more at the time? Especially if I could have afforded them at that time. You know, I mean, this has been, for me to even get where I'm at as far as on the amount of parts that I've got for repairs. It's been 25 years in the making. I know Chad, I know he can kind of attest for that because he used to do radio repairs. Of course, he still goes through his own radios and stuff too. Of course, he gets to where he hates that. uh, that was my wife sending me a message. Let me see what she has to say here. Oh, I thought it was. Nope, it's for the group. All right. Another company that I asked them on doing the wire, and they wanted to send it to another outlet. And it's like, well, how do I get it from that outlet to here? And yeah, it was too much hassle. Had a good price, but whenever I can't get overall cost for shipping involved in it, it's very difficult for me to know what to do. So, all right. Let's see. Let's get some wire for that combiner there. Stretch. Yeah, that's what I didn't want to do. I think what it is that company just didn't want to go through the work. Otherwise, I would have purchased from them. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, 3. I've been talking away and not looking at the screen. Prayers out to your family as well. Yeah, I'm going to try tuning this out in a 4 pill configuration, building it this way. If this doesn't work to suit me, I will probably go ahead and take, the ferret rings we've got here, and I may rewrap them in the other configuration. I've seen times where different things work, so I'm trying to set this up so that if and when the transistors ever go out on this, that it can be relatively repaired fairly easily without a whole lot of change. Um, I've built with both types of combiners, even with the HGs, and I mean everything's got its merit. That's the biggest thing, is everything has its merit on different versions for different reasons, different placement. And what you think doesn't work today will work tomorrow. That's the other $1 million thing. Jill Biden. Uh, that sadly, that last name is just kind of a distaste. Has a distaste in a lot of people's mouths. Well, my wife is a nutritionist over there, and I know she pushes and pushes and pushes, eating the right types of foods and stuff. And when I have time and I follow her advice, of course, she says I'm disobedient. But I've noticed that whenever I do follow my wife's advice, um, I do feel healthier, you know, been able to lose a little weight. She really doesn't understand just how much I work and what I try to do. Um, she thinks I work too much, and she's probably right, to be honest with you. But I can't get ahead if I don't work. Actually, we can go all the way here. By the way, Chad, sorry about the way the wires rolled on the first, on that first order that you made with me. Mainly because of the fact that I didn't have my wire machine made up. I'm sure you've seen that it's a little bit better on the other. But I've also made some improvements on that too since then. And I ordered, and granted it's a little extra, it'll be a little extra money, but I also ordered some empty spools. So they should be in here in the next week. I've got one roll of wire that's almost empty above my head, and I'm gonna take and spool it onto a little bit smaller spool. But the spools that I ordered should hold around 200, 200 and between 200 to 250 feet of wire. They're not huge, but it makes it easier as far as to be able to put onto a roll and unreel it. I haven't seen how you do yours there in your shop, but let's see. You mess it up anyhow. Yes, it used to be. Well, I don't know about a plus, but Palamar Elite. Guess I ought to set that there. So that's basically what we're rebuilding. Yeah, the solder spools. Yeah, and I kept those for a long time, and I used those, which you can finagle, what is it, 25 or 30 feet of wire at least on those. But I ordered in some springs and stuff so that some things can stay compressed, some things can be, uh, some things will actually keep pushing in, some things will keep pressure out in order to go ahead and keep everything more stabilized too. So, it's the way I've got it made. It's actually, I think, better than buying it. But if I would have bought the entire thing, um, as far as for the wire, it was going to cost me almost $1,000. And I spent $100 for the machine as far as the actual counter, um, $25 for the bearings, and then um, I think what was it? Spent $40 on the two steel perforated rods that I had up. Which, if I could have went to junkyard or salvage yard, which I just don't have time because I'd have to wait around for 2 hours in town to do that, I could have probably got it more economically. But I'm still under $300 invested into the entire thing. The bottom plates, they're actually bottoms shipping. Uh, they were bolted to the bottom of my safe that I had ordered several years ago. Well, I just couldn't bear to throw them away because they were good heavy pieces of steel. So, I thought, hey, those will work great for a platform. So I use those for the platform for the base. The way I've got it set up, which I'm going to move two bolt holes. I'm going to move those over about 4 inches because the way it's made right now, it will almost collapse all the way down flat so that I can go ahead and flatten it down, set it up on the end, and set it in the corner when I'm done using it. So, all right, Bruce, take care, buddy. We'll catch you on the next one. Hello, Gary. Yeah, the stabilized part. What's that? Well, this is actually going to be bias 3. It's going to be biased for sideband. So, as far as the Class C chokes, there's not actually going to be a Class C, but this I've just got to cut it down. But I've already got the chokes wired for the biasing here, and then I'll do another choke over here for the biasing, which is already pre-wound. I'm using some of the components that were in there whenever I got it that were used for upgrades to begin with. So, there again, I'm trying to utilize everything that I can off of it and reconfigure it. And then there's going to be some pieces and parts that are going to be obviously added. The transformers, I wasn't even going to try to fight with getting those other transformers off and try to. That's a whole nother animal I didn't want to fight. So it's just easier just to charge him for four brand new transformers here, and that way that's done and over with. So we're going to go that direction on that. Alrighty, and it is 9:05. I didn't realize it was late. All right, guys, that means that I have got to get out of here and go to work. So we'll pick up tomorrow someplace. I don't know if I'm going to do a video tomorrow on it, but I am going to go ahead and do some more work on this, try to get this knocked out. Hopefully by today's Wednesday, I'm going to hopefully get this knocked out by Monday anyways. So guys, take care. I appreciate it. We will catch you on the next live feed.